Blades, Bows and Battlecastings.
That's it. This is barely enough to buy an ale.
I'm sorry, that's all the coin I have, I swear.
Pathetic. You'll find me more by tomorrow if you know what's good for you.
Oh, of course. I'll find it, sir.
The terrified villager cowered before the larger man. Armoured in heavy plates, the broad-shouldered bounty hunter towered over the poor woman. He reached up to his shoulder where his greatsword was sheathed, and gripped the hilt as if to draw it.
You better. Otherwise your protection ends. And you don't want to know what bandits do to rural folk with no coin.
He pulled at the blade slowly, his eyes unblinking and dead.
I know, I don't just... Please don't hurt my family.
Then don't be late!
Stolim grabbed the poor woman and twisted, throwing her backwards down the road. The woman stumbled, almost falling to the ground before finding her feet, running away as fast as her feet could carry her. As she ran, she passed a serious-looking young man in a cloak who stared at Stolim from across the street.
What are you looking at? Unless you're offering up that nice cloak you have there, you should just keep moving.
The only thing I'm offering you is a warning. Give back the gold you've beaten out of the people here, or face the consequences.
You? You look like a child who's found his father's sword and now fancies himself a warrior. Go on, boy, before I lose my patience.
I'd like to see you try.
Delmore drew his longsword and prepared to fight. Across the clearing, the larger man shrugged before drawing his own blade. The greatsword glinted in the sunlight as Stolim showed off his sizable weapon.
You were warned, boy, but you're foolish to think if you could beat me alone.
And who said I was alone?
The ground erupted around Stolim as several grasping vines rapidly grew around him. The plants wrapped themselves around his arms and legs, holding the bounty hunter still as he struggled to advance toward the young fighter.
What in place is this the sorcery?
Nature magic, the power of rangers and druids. Now this is your final warning. Leave these people alone, or be made to leave. Permanently.
The only thing leaving is your soul when I tear it out of you, boy. The same for your little friend when I find them.
Stolim pulled at the roots holding him down. As the larger man set his considerable strength against the vines, they strained and broke. Freed from his natural bindings, Stolim moved to charge down Delmore, only to stall as an arrow struck his arm.
Urgh! Fucking archers! Come out and fight me like a man, you coward!
No thanks, I'm quite happy shooting you from over here.
Stolim swung round to where he'd heard the tabaxi's voice, but couldn't see the hidden assailant. Realising he was caught between Delmore and Looping, Stolim swerved to take cover behind a nearby house in an attempt to hide from the ranger's bow. Drawing a small crossbow and as he ran, he took a shot at Delmore before dropping the weapon. The mage raised his hands and chanted, summoning a spell shield just in time to deflect the missile.
Stay on him, Looping. I'll cut him off.
Looping broke cover from behind a house further down the street to get a clear shot at Stolim down the alleyway. Drawing another arrow, the tabaxi only needed but a brief moment to take aim before releasing the bowstring. The arrow flew between the two houses before striking the bounty hunter in the back of the leg. Stolim let out a pained shout as he stumbled. He managed to stay on his feet and pulled himself around the corner, only to come face to face with Delmore as he was preparing another spell.
Oh, you're not getting away that easily. Magikai, Telum!
3 glowing darts shot from Delmore's outstretched hand, slamming into Stolim's chest. These seemed to have little effect, though, as the larger man stumbled forward, grabbing Delmore.
No more magic tricks, boy.
With a heave, the larger man pushed against Delmore. Even with his injuries, Stolim's strength overwhelmed the younger fighter as he was shoved to the ground. As he fell, Stolim lunged forward, aiming to impale the downed man with his greatsword. His blade landed high against Delmore's shoulder, tearing through mail and muscle alike. Delmore gritted his teeth, the sensation of cold steel bit into his flesh.
Where's that confidence now, boy? Lost all that bravado after losing a little blood. Should have stayed home and left the fighting to real men.
Real men don't abuse defenseless innocents for a few coins. How's that bravery? It's cowardice in disguise.
What do you know of bravery? It's a cruel world, boy. Shame you won't live to see it.
Bounty Hunter pulled his blade free from Delmore's shoulder, causing him to grunt in pain. The younger warrior's blood still dripping from the blade, Stolim grinned as he prepared to drive his weapon back into Delmore's chest. Instead of fighting to stop the blade, Delmore raised his hands again and began to chant. Realising that his foe was up to something, Stolim brought his sword back down but found only dirt and soil. Delmore vanished in a puff of mist and reappeared 20 feet away before ducking behind a wall, clutching his shoulder.
Running away? Coward! There's no...
Stolim's taunts were cut short as something cut into his arms. He stepped back and raised his blade to defend himself, only for something unseen to cut into his legs, causing the bounty hunter to lose more blood.
Forget about me.
More trickery! Weak bastards!
Stolim stepped forward and swung his blade in a wide arc, hoping to strike the invisible foe. His blade found nothing but air, and Stolim's trembling legs failed him as he dropped to one knee. He finally lost grip of his weapon, the blade clattering to the ground pathetically. As the bounty hunter looked up, a jet-black tabaxi in a cloak faded into view.
This fight's over. Carrying on will lead to death by 1,000 cuts, and you've already lost a lot of blood.
I won't be bettered by a couple of upstart pups. Especially not a rotten fleabag like you.
With a sudden surge of strength, Stolim lunged forward and grabbed Looping by the arm. Drawing a dagger with his offhand, he proceeded to stab the ranger repeatedly in the arm as Looping tried to pull away.
If I'm going down, then I'm taking you with me, fleabag. You and the pathetic weakling are both...
Stolim's threats were cut short as the reddened tip of a long sword protruded from his chest. Delmore stepped out from behind a sudden cloud of mist behind the bounty hunter, striking a deadly blow.
That fleabag is 10 times the man you ever were. You can go to the next plane of existence knowing you were killed by a couple of weaklings.
Stolim's grip on the tabaxi loosened as he fell to his knees. He looked up at Looping, his mouth trying to form words as his strength finally left him. No sound escaped as the life left his eyes and the soulless body slowly slumped to the side. Delmore dropped, sitting back against the house behind him. His face paled as he raised his left arm to clutch at his wound, blood still flowing freely.
Here, let me. Senatio Spiritus.
Looping's hands started to emit a soft green glow, as did the area around Delmore. The wound on his shoulder slowly began to knit itself back together as the colour returned to his face. Once the wound closed, Delmore breathed a sigh of relief as Looping sat next to him and began to heal his own wounds.
Well, that didn't exactly go to plan.
We had a plan?
Of course we did. Step 1, surprise the bounty hunter with an entangle spell. Step 2, don't get stabbed.
Step 2 sounds more like a goal than a step to a plan.
Ah, but if we call it a goal, then we only succeeded in half our goals. If we call it a step to the plan, then we can say we hit all our goals with a little improvisation.
I would hardly call getting stabbed improvisation, Looping.
Or did you plan on being stabbed?
Why did I ask you for help instead of literally anyone else?
As if to answer, a pouch of gold coins landed at the floor in front of Delmore. Confused, he looked up to his friend who had tossed the bag over.
Because no one else would have stepped in to help you as fast as me. That's half the bounty that was on this guy's head. I knew you wouldn't come home to claim it, and you need some funds to help you on this wandering venture of yours.
Delmore picked up the pouch and pocketed the coins. There was a small but considerable amount there that would pay for food and shelter for the immediate future. He looked back over at Looping and gave a nod of appreciation. The two adventurers sat together, taking the time to regain their strength and share a moment of quiet companionship.
So, was being stabbed part of the plan, or are you just really bad at improvisation?
I swear, I'm gonna strangle you with your own tail, Looping.
Thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more content like this, then hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. Don't forget to check out my character videos, which give more details on the characters in this series. If you want to support these videos, then head over to my Ko-Fi, linked below.